For those that have just done one video to do with roller standing development, you're now back to your floor work with the roller. For those that have just done the warm-up, we'll quickly get going again. You find your roller still if you've got one. If you haven't got a roller, people, get in touch and get one from me, either borrow it or buy it. We have a stock. The roller is fundamentally useful in doing your Pilates workout. So this one is video 139, and it's a continuation again of the floor work we do with the roller, hoping I want to find a great starting place for you all. Video 139 then. Your start shape will be with your roller across the mat. And again, take your time. It's quite interesting. As I go up and down, I'm aware that some of us have really creaky knees. To get down onto the floor, lower yourself to the floor happily, easily, and then take yourself, probably line up your feet with the bottom end of the mat. The first position on this roller is to get the roller at the base of the skull. The base of the skull is at your neck, that big hollow there. The base of your skull is the knobbly bit known as the occipital bone. So we're going to try and find that part of the spine, the skeleton. Lying on the back, the roller, I've got a lovely softened roller here, so my grey surface area, if you've got a two-tone roller, you want the grey surface area. If you haven't, don't worry, it will still work, it's just a wee bit more comfortable. The only thing I need to say is, if for some reason some of these positions just do not feel right, the chances are they're not right for you because you're not in the right position. You can do everything I'm doing with the head cushion under your head, okay? Otherwise, the roller's under the back of the skull. You'll notice under the skull and not the neck, because you should be able to get your hand behind your head and the hollow of the neck should be there. I can put my freezing cold hands at the back of my neck. My neck is free of the roller. I've taken the roller work on the floor right back to base because I'm aware that I went too far too soon with technique yesterday, ability. I have a quick look down, my thigh bones are level, I've stretched my back out, I have a sense of symmetry, I put my hands either side of the mat, and my shoulder blades, I can feel them gently against the mat. Go into your breathing immediately and allow the skull to feel heavy on the roller. You are in your neutral, inhaling and exhaling, and the sensation of the pelvic floor gently drawing up and the navel being contracted towards the spine without being too aggressive is already part of your connection. The first thing we're going to do with the skull is do what we call a skull rock or a chin nod. As the breathing out happens, gently draw the chin to the throat, the roller will move fractionally, and you'll feel as though you roll to the bottom end of the occipital ridge. Breathe in, that's the neck stretch, your neck is lengthened. Breathing out, gently keep the pressure of the skull against the roller and point your nose up to the ceiling. The roller will fractionally move again. Inhale. Breathing out, the sensation of the skull gently pressing the roller away from you as you draw your chin down to your throat. Keep your feet heavy, the pelvis heavy. Inhale into that lengthened back of the neck and breath out. Float the head. The roller will gently massage under you. I'm talking supple. Inhale just there, and then keep the chin lowering to the point where you can easily see the tops of your knees. Your shoulder blades are on the floor. Now this is fundamental to you being in the appropriate position for the back of the neck. There will be no pain, no discomfort. You've just done a setup for neutral neck position, which will help with all this computer work everyone's doing. We now take the awareness from the neck to the pelvis. Exhaling then, you've got your rib cage placement and your pelvic floor draws up to gently roll the pelvis, as subtle as it was in the neck, into imprint. That's the lower back lengthened. Breathe in. And when breathing out, allow the pelvis to return through imprint into a true neutral, equal load behind both pelvic areas. I'm moving my hands away. Breathing out, the pelvic floor draws up, the ribs have already placed themselves, and you find your pelvic roll, rock, tip into your imprint without bum squeeze. You breathe in and you breathe out, and you find the opposite journey where your lumbar spine gently flows away from the floor as you keep your load through the back of the pelvis. The next position you're going to stay in is a gentle imprint of your lumbar spine. So that's a pelvic tip tilt. It's subtle, it's not massive. And the rib cage and the hip bones are closer than they would normally be. And your midriff is on the floor, your chin's nodded, and here we start to work. With the next breath out, put the fingertips between your hip bones and feel one leg lift up without your back lifting. That's now in tabletop. Keep the chin nod and the head where it is, and bring your second leg up. We're now in tabletop legs and imprint of the lumbar spine. You can either keep your fingertips pushing down through the flesh to the inside of the hip bone area to monitor the muscles, or you can keep your hands pressing against the ground and your skull, chin, nod. Exhale then and lower the right leg towards the ground, but don't touch it, keep it bent. Breathe in and pull it back again. Breathe out, watch your thigh, lower down, halfway down, inhale, pull it back. Breathe the rib cage down. Inhale, volume of air into the back of the rib cage and back. As you're doing this, the midriff from hip bone to last rib activates the fascia, the muscle connection is there. If you're managing to lower one leg down and maintain complete connection through your core, take it a little bit further down. Use your breath out. The leg lowers down. Use your breath in and the leg pulls back up. If I was to palpate the area between your rib cage and your hip bones, I'd feel a sheet of muscle flattening you down in the direction of the spine as you lower and lift. My skull has stayed slightly nodded in, which means the back of my neck is lovely and long. The rib cage, thoracic area, completely stabilising, switching on as I work through an increased range. Now stay where you are. Exhale and now let your right leg reach until it almost straightens, and inhale, pull it back again. Breathe out, left leg, it lowers and then extends away, and I can feel equal pressure, connection for the ground behind the pelvis and the lumbar spine. As your leg reaches away, the oblique length completely switches on. So notice, as your leg lowers and lengthens, your core finds an increased connection. You determine where your leg goes by the hold of the position of the spine, which is lengthened and relatively flat. The rib cage is certainly engaged behind you onto the mat. So your leg, if it can only go to there, that's fine. It's harder to do all of this work with the head down, the roller is the equivalent of the head down, than with curling up. So don't think, oh my goodness, I must be doing something wrong. No, this is even more accurate than curling and uncurling. So your obliques are having to be more of their length that they should be for standing stability, rather than you curling up. We're just going to do one more. You've seen how slow and deliberate this is, and then pull that back. Okay folks, changing position then. I've come up to seated. Sit on top of your roller, and again, I'm going to use the softened grey bit of my roller because I have that privilege. In sitting on the roller, I've got my sit bones on the roller. If you're sat bang in the middle of your roller, you're going to equally disperse the weight of your body through the centre of the roller, and both sides are equal. So as you sit there, sitting on your sit bones, you're breathing in and out. Your chest is open, your collarbones are wide open, and the breath in and out is in seated neutral. I'm not creating pressure anywhere. Inhaling and exhaling then, the first thing to do is see if you can pelvic tilt, pulling the roller kind of under you or rolling your sit bones to one side. Keeping your hands onto your thighs, come back to centre, which is this straight spine, and then do the opposite and forwards bow over the rib cage, and the roller ends up near your thighs. Play with this. Come up through centre, pulling against your feet. Find your sit bones and your straight spine. Breathe in. Breathing out, do the opposite and tilt the pelvis and roll back. So let's play with this one just for a while, just to make sure I keep things simple. Breathe in, breathe out, and come all the way back to seated neutral. I feel as though I'm pushing my tailbone backwards as I find the seated bones at the pelvic area. Exhaling, pelvic imprint through pelvic floor, internal oblique flexion. It's gentle, it's subtle. The roller is now near to my sacrum, but it's nowhere near on it. Breathe, exhaling, keeping my head looking at my thighs until I find my sit bones and can sit up tall and proud. Okay, we develop that. Breath out then. You will pelvic tilt, draw the roller under you, and find yourself in your C-shaped spine. Reach your arms, breathe again. We're going to go beyond seated neutral, so sitting up tall, there I am, and then push the roller, straighten the legs, and bend your rib cage so you've got a seated spine stretch. Inhaling, bend your knees, pull against your feet, and go through the middle part, which is your seated upright. Breathe, and then come into your flexion as the roller comes under you. If you're not sure, all I can encourage you to do is not listen to the language, but follow your body. As long as there's no pain anywhere, you can't get this wrong. We come back, pulling the heels against the ground, bending the legs, pulling the shoulders away from the neck, sitting upright. We come continuing under us into forwards flexing, and we're going to stay this time. So find a comfortable place. I need to cough. Find a comfortable place. I'm on the back of my sit bones. There's no pain. My lumbar spine is not massively bent, and that really matters. It's more rib cage and the equivalent of imprint. Place your hands on the roller, or place them on the floor, or keep them in the air. Whichever way, you've now got single leg extend and bend. Breathing out, let one leg straighten, and breathing in, bend. If you want your hands either side of the thighs, we're straight into our oblique and flexor connect. You've got to use your breath out to contract the abdominal area. People that know that I'm always correcting your rib cage, right now, get your ribs sorted. We're just going to do one more each side, because I'm very aware that to hold some of you in this position is hard work. So one more. How do we come out of this? You start to roll up, push your legs straight, and then exhale and bend the rib cage and reach your arms, not down to your feet, but level with the feet, but higher beyond the crown of the head, and return back. I'm going to do one more activity there, just for completion of learning. So you come back to that seated upright position, you know where it is. Remember, if the roller's too much of an intensity for you, do all of this on the floor. Breathing out, then I'll do that gentle pelvic tilt. And all of us, let's just take one hand back, the other hand back. There's no pressure on my hands, they're really light, but the ground makes it almost easier. I'm going to bring one leg up, then the second leg up, and then going to lower that leg down and down. It's like a teaser prep. My shoulder blades are drawn down my back, my collarbones are wide open. As I lift one leg, down, down and lower it. Keep that going if it's going straight to your core. If it's not, take it just to a single leg lift and lower. It would be evidence if it's all in your back, but as you're pulling your leg up, you're bending your spine at the lumbar. Don't. This is flexor and extend and obliques. All right, people, the next time, if you can keep both legs up in the air, leave them there, and then tap them both down, breathe in, shrink the tongue, and float them up. If you can only do it single leg, do it single leg. So if you're doing it single leg, you're lowering from the top, pulling back up, lowering from the top, pulling back up. Whatever you're doing, you're breathing the activation to the trunk stabilizers rather than bracing and hoping I'll end soon. This is your last one. Leave that there, place the feet down, and then just turn onto the side of your thigh bum, roll onto the side of the buttock, allowing the legs to come together. So I'm just rolling onto it. It's a slight glute release, isn't it? Hello, Sharon. A slight glute release. There's very little weight going through my shoulder. I massage. I'm then going to go to the other side, a bit of a massage as I allow the muscles to get blood flow by compressing against the roller. It's gentle. I am not doing myofascial work really. I'm giving you a reward. Okay, people, let that go. From that position there, you're going to take yourself into all fours. And in the all fours position, you're going to come onto your shins, not your knee joint, but your shins. Check your thigh bones are parallel and the knees are parallel. Have your hands as wide as your mat is. The first part of this action is to take you into what we call a shell stretch, allowing your bottom to go far back towards the heel as you want. Inhale forwards. Breath out. Shrink the tongue. And the back reaches a bit backwards with the sit bones. Notice I'm not massively rounded. And the shin is a kind of bit of a massage connection. Bearing in mind I have a lovely soft grey side to the roller, so it's a little bit more pleasant than it would be if it was solid. It's not inappropriate if it's solid. It's more about tolerance. Alright, I'm happy now that our lower backs have not got anything going on to kind of misaligned or tension. So, this is the equivalent of being all fours on the reformer. The breath out now. Pull those thighs to, and the breath in, flow them away. Now I lurched forwards with my shoulders initially. I'm not really sure why, but you're not meant to. I'm reorganising, making sure my armpit is over my wrist. As my breath out, imagine you're lifting your bottom up to roll the roller up and down the shins. Your collarbones stay wide open, the upper back stays lengthened across from left to right, and the scapula most certainly stabilising onto the back of the rib cage. This is the last one as you massage through the shin and take it back again. Your next position is much needed lying on your front. So align your clothing, there's nothing like bunching up clothing. We take the roller forwards then, having freed up the spine, switched on the oblique core. Your legs want to reach far enough back to ground themselves through the feet. Have a quick look down, make sure you've got everything level. Again, you really want the roller and the mat to be your geometry set. You want to have an equal amount of roller either edge of the mat. And then have the setup of the pubic bone dominant without really, ideally, the glutes squeezing in. But if your glutes have to squeeze a bit, fine, then you want ribcage placement. Pubic bone dominant, hip bones are not jammed into the floor, legs are long and not passive, and the hands are going to go, the palm of the hand towards the wrist to the roller. We're going systematically at this, so some of you can't actually have your hands on the roller, just have your hands on the floor. You people that are really struggling with your upper back tightness, otherwise everyone else, inhale, you're pushing your arms away, pull your shoulders away from your neck so the rollers move, then pull your shoulder blades down the back and pull the roller back to the skull. Inhaling, float away and deliberately elevate the shoulder. Breath out, pull your elbows wide. Stay where you are just here. So your elbows wide, the upper back muscles between the scapula should be active. Hold your position. If you're lying on the floor without the roller, your hands are hovering the floor, okay? You might have your hands under your forehead for all I know. Holding this position, can you feel your upper back? Check. Can you feel your abdominals? Are you reaching your legs backwards? Now inhale, push away again. Feel the shoulder blades slide. Exhale, pull back under you again. Stay. We're going to use the slight lift of the sternum and pressing against the roller and the reversing back. Listen to the cueing. Breathe in. Breathing out, zip hollow, abs. Point the nose towards the roller and then gently push against the palms of the hands, pulling the shoulder blades back to systematically take the spine, the thoracic spine, into a bit of extension. Let's go. Nose to roller, shoulders away from the neck, breathe. Shoulder blades roll down the back. I naturally want to lean over to my left, so I'm getting more connection with my right armpit. Keep the rib cage obliques connected and lowering back down. Breathe. Inhaling, exhale. Now, I'm up here. I've found my range. My hip bones are still on the floor, but my pubic bone is dominant. Sorry, no, my hip bones are off the floor. My pubic bone is dominant. I'm going to now roll the roller away. Have a huge inhale, pull the shoulders to the neck. Exhale, pull the shoulders away from the neck and gently float up. Inhaling. And the biggest activity is your shoulder blades drawing down the back, connecting with the mid-trapezius rhomboid area, and then the obliques. The obliques are the muscles that go from hip bone to ribs. My thigh bones are reaching out tight, and each time I roll up and down here, I feel increased range of movement happening. Keep this going as long as there's no pinching in your back. As you do it this time, just gently turn and look over one shoulder. Inhale and flow away again. Breath out, zip, hollow, pubic bone dominant, turn and start to look over the other shoulder as you pick up your breastbone, your pecs. Exhale, turning and looking over the shoulder. Now you can do all of this with a bent elbow. If you find your shoulders happier, keeping the elbow bent, you can. Whichever way, it's a much, much needed activation for the upper spine. People, that's all I'm going to do because I think it's better to leave less is more. But because of what we've done, we need to finish off. I'm going to change my view of you. I'm going to finish off. My hands are going to go on the roller. I'm going to stand up so that my legs are in some kind of squat, feet apart. Hands are on the roller. This is like doing elephant with your hands on the foot bar. Bend the legs to the point where you feel you can hold the hands against the roller. You pull the roller under your shoulders if you want. And then round your spine, pulling your abdomen away from the floor, and then extend the spine and gently push the roller away. Exhaling round. The roller pulls under you, your legs are most certainly bent. Inhaling and extend. Keep the legs bent, people. And the tighter your hamstrings are, the more you need to keep your legs bent. Now it could be that you still need to do this in all fours, but I'm just treating you to how to use it with the standing bent leg. The next time you find yourself rounding through the rib cage, let the roller come up, walk it with your fingers up to your thighs, and then breathing out, tuck your bottom under and return all the way back. Your final shape to get you strong and powerful into your day is to take that roller up and reach it up and follow it up to the sky. Deliberately push down through your heels, lift up through your arches, zip up and hollow through the core area. Imagine your navel pull into your spine and think that you could touch the sky. Then relax your shoulders and now pull the roller down and let yourself go. Therein lies a second part to a series on the floor that's using the roller. Give me your feedback. I will respond to learning. There's no point me doing these videos if they're not accessible to every level, and I will therefore make sure that tomorrow we build on what we've done today. We are in this lockdown, I believe, for longer than we could really want to be, and therefore we either become students again of learning our bodies and putting stuff in, because we're all getting older, we're not getting younger. And that's really what I'm going to facilitate. Whatever you want, however you want to do it, let me know. Great that you tuned in again today. Hopefully it was what you needed for your body, and I will see you soon. It's a goodbye from me, and I'll see you tomorrow.